All right, back with an artist that we've locked in with, but he disappeared on me for a minute. Jordie Ireland. He's in Sydney. Jordie, where the hell you been, bro?
Yeah, it's been a minute, hasn't it? Um,
A minute,
yeah,
as in
no,
minute, as in a minute, you mean 2 years, pretty much.
yes, it has been 2 years, hasn't it? No, I just like everyone else, got affected by COVID a little bit, and I kind of used that time to, get a new team around me, solidify myself a bit more. And when we talk more about the music, coming from where I was at a couple of years ago, the music that I was making, I was super proud of, but I've never had an emotional connection to the music in regards to what the lyrics are saying.
Mhm.
Um, and, I sat down with myself and I was like, all these amazing singer songwriters, the first thing that they'll say is that writing music is like their form of therapy. And I wanted to feel that as a producer artist. So, I sat down, I like thought about everything that I'd gone through. It just happened to be during a breakup as well. So I had plenty to write about. And yeah, this song's the first hint of me spilling out my emotions into the world.
The new Jordie Ireland.
Me.
So yeah, 2 years of what we have done as a lockdown, and Sydney's gone through some tough times during that. Was the lockdown and the pandemic, was it hard on you inspiring? Like, was it hard on you to write during that time and do music? Or, as I've spoken to some artists, it really did inspire them to get in the studio more and work?
Yeah, for sure. I think obviously in terms of like the live element of music, it was all kind of not existent,
Mm-hmm.
which really impacted a lot of people. I'm lucky enough that, the majority of the stuff that I do at the moment isn't live. It's like a lot of the producing stuff, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. So I actually found that this period, the Zoom era, I was able to write with people that I potentially wouldn't be able to write with if
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't for the pandemic, writing with people from LA, from Sweden, from the UK. So in regards to like the writing of my new music, I actually found that it was actually a positive thing for me.
Yeah.
But I'm also very cautious about, speaking about how positive it was because it affected so many people so negatively, especially
Mm-hmm.
in my industry. And, my heart goes out to all those people that got affected.
But you got to take the positives out. I take the positives out of this, that a lot more artists are open to doing Zoom interviews. And the amount of artists that I've got to connect with that I would normally wait for them to come to Perth or wherever I'm going to be at. It's a blessing in disguise, and it's great that you've got to link with those other writers and artists around the world. How was Zoom writing and producing for you? Was it challenging?
Yeah, it was a bit weird in the beginning. My first introduction to it was like literally at the beginning of the pandemic when when everyone was going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was part of a Song Hubs, which is run by APRA. And, it was the first ever online APRA Song Hubs, which was like kind of crazy to be a part of. And I got thrown straight into the deep end because, those Song Hubs, they have 5 days straight of just writing music with different people every day. And we had to kind of figure it out. We were forced to figure it out straight away. But because I had that really, full on 5 days, from then on, it kind of felt easy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there are apps out there that can help you listen to what someone's doing on their end when they're producing or when they're singing or whatever. If it wasn't for Zoom, I think a lot of artists would have struggled a lot
Yeah.
in the last little bit. So I'm super thankful that, all this technology exists. And yeah, we got there in the end. Like, I've been, for the last 2 years almost, I've been writing primarily over Zoom and we've, written some great stuff, which hopefully everyone's going to be able to hear soon.
What was the first studio session after the pandemic, when you could actually get back into the studio with artists? What was that like for you? Have you done that already?
Yeah, I've had one session where I've had someone in person and, like I had a long period during the pandemic where I was super nervous about seeing people in person and, just like having that person to person
Mm-hmm.
contact. But then when you get into the room, like writing music, something magical happens and like all of your worries kind of go away and you just want to write a good song. So that, that by that stage when I was actually allowed to write in person again, it kind of started to feel normal again. And obviously because we're on Zoom so often, like it's almost like this has become the new normal. So it didn't really feel like I was thrown into the deep end when it was back into person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen you perform live, and you mentioned earlier when we first started chatting just about the fact that, the live aspect was taken away. What's a Jordie Ireland show like? I know you're, heavily inspired early days by like someone like Avicii who I've seen live. Is that your performance, or is it more of a setup with, you're playing instruments and you're singing?
Yeah. So I obviously have massive respect for Avicii. I would say he's my favorite artist ever. And initially he's who got me into this industry and just like inspired me to start doing what I started doing. But during, that 2-year period where I didn't release any music, I started to think about what I wanted my live shows to look like. And with this new music comes like a new sense of liveness to the music that I'm creating. I'm recording in live guitars, I'm recording in live drums. And I think it would be awesome to, step away from just the DJ decks and be in front of everyone, more immersive, playing the instruments live, having my featured artists come on stage with me and singing it to a crowd. Like, I think that experience is so much more immersive and so much more real. And I think it's definitely something that I want to try and, perfect when live music comes back.
I think Kygo does a bit of that, doesn't he, in his shows?
Yeah, for sure. The two main producer artists that I've noticed have done it is Kygo. I saw him live a couple of years ago playing keys live and all that sort of stuff. That was incredible. And then I know also the Chainsmokers do it. They've got Alex up the back on the decks, but then Drew's in the front with the guitars and the piano and all that sort of stuff. Those two live sets are like massive inspirations, and I'd love to try and even get close to recreating something like that.
So 2022, we got to get you performing at some of the big clubs out in Vegas then. Is that the plan?
Yeah, that's the plan.
I love it. I love it. Is there an artist out there that loves pictures of clouds more than yourself?
Oh, the cloud pictures on my Instagram. I don't know.
Is there something behind it? Do you love clouds for a certain reason, or is it just the aesthetic of it?
Like when you don't have a team telling you what to do and what to post, you tend to post some weird stuff, and clouds was my weird stuff. But now I've got an amazing team at Sony and we're honing in on the content that we're putting out there now. So I'm so lucky to have them, and hopefully there'll be less cloud-based imagery in my socials incoming.
Hey, I enjoy a little bit of a cloud photo every now and then. So I'm not against it. How was that transition, moving from, the team that you had before and then kind of sliding in with the Sony team that you're working with now?
Yeah, to be honest, like I've said from the beginning that being happy with your team and being happy with the people around you is so much more important than anything else, be it the success of the music, how much money you're making, all that sort of stuff. Because if you're getting all that success, but you're not happy with where you're at, what's the point? So to be honest, like I don't think I've ever been happier in the industry with the people that are around me.
Great.
And like I get on so well with the Sony team. I have never had any issues with any one of them. And, like it really feels like a family, which is so exciting for me. And I can't wait to do more stuff with them in the future.
I love that. I love to see you happy, and I love, that you have that confidence in your team. It just makes it a lot easier for you. You did drop a song in 2020 that was with Tyrone Happy and Cassidy Pop. That one was titled Make You Mine. And then this one is You're Not Mine. Any connection in the song? Like, is that the beginning of where it all started?
So Make You Mine, I wrote with two other amazing artists, Pat and Missy. We were all in the room, and I believe that this song we were actually writing about one of Missy's friends' situations. So we were all in a happy place, so we had nothing sad to write about. So we decided to, go off other stories that we'd heard recently. So no, there's no connection between the two. But I did get multiple Instagram stories being like, Jordie wanted her mine in 2020, but now she's not mine in 2021. So yeah,
It's just
uh,
a happy coincidence.
it's just a happy coincidence. Yeah.
So I guess like what you're saying now is that, you know, your new music is going to be a lot more about your life and I guess your experiences, and talking about how that one was written about, you know, someone else's experience. You've got the new track out, You're Not Mine. This is a personal experience that you've gone through. Was it harder to, I guess, write about personal experience, or did you find it easier?
Um, in the beginning, I was a bit nervous about writing about personal experiences. But as I said, as soon as you get it out on paper, or not actually paper anymore, but as soon as you get it out, it's just like a massive weight lifted off your shoulders. And to be honest, like now it's my favorite part of songwriting is, someone yells at you in the street, you write it down in your notes on your app, and then you write a song about it. Like it's such an amazing way to get your emotions out into the world. And, all the people that I work with are amazing and they're my best friends, and I feel like I can tell them anything, which makes it 10 times easier. And yeah, like I think, it's a really healthy process.
Yeah, I was talking with Sam Fisher just yesterday, and he was talking about that therapy and what that has done for him, being able to talk and the experiences. You know, was that something, I guess, that you felt like you were missing from your songwriting, process previously?
Yeah, I mean, all of the songs that I've written in the past, in the beginning of my career, they all had meaning to the people that I was writing it with. Take Cover was about a situation that Sophie, who was then Ava, went through. One in a Million was about someone's friend, what they went through. So there was always a sense of realness to all the music that I'd written, and I'm always involved in the songwriting process. It's my favorite part of the music, is sitting there with the guitar and writing lyrics. So there was always like a real story behind all the music that I make, and I think that's really important, to make it relatable and to have realness and authenticity behind the song. But this music in particular, this is directly related to me, directly related to what I went through. And, if people relate to it as well, that's an added extra, but at least I can get what I was feeling out into the world.
Yeah. So you've got Cam Robertson, who's from Glades, the band, who's an awesome band, and you've got him on this track with you. How did it kind of come about? Was it always going to be him on this? Did you write it together?
Yeah, it's actually an interesting story. Myself, Cam, and Carla Weeby, who's another amazing artist in Australia, all three of us were at a Sony songwriting camp. And initially it was going to be me and Cam producing the song, and then I would also co-write the song with Carla, and Carla would be the one that was ending up on the song. And then, so Carla and I were writing melodies, and then Cam's doing his thing on the guitars and on the piano and all that sort of stuff. And then Cam's like, oh, what about this melody? And comes out and sings a melody. And Carla and I like immediately looked at each other. We're like, Cam, you need to sing on this song. Like your voice is incredible. This is the first time I'd heard Cam's voice away from, like background vocals in the Glade stuff. And it just so happened that Cam was interested in starting a solo project, and his voice fit the song so perfectly that it was like, Cam, you're on the song. Like, you just stay on the song, which was really great. And he was so down to do that. And, he's got an incredible voice, and I'm super lucky to have him on it.
Yeah, the experience, and I guess listening through this song and what you can as a listener bring to it is very easy, because most people have gone through it. The breakup situation, and then the wanting to stay together, or friends, or just a little bit extra. What is it about breakups and that emotion that makes such a good song and drove you towards using that experience?
Like I think emotions are real, and the more you keep them in, the worse it gets. And everyone knows that when they go through a breakup, there is a barrage of different emotions that hit you like a ton of bricks. And it's specifically with this project that I'm, this string of singles that I'm coming out with, I thought it'd be really cool to have a different song represent a different stage of emotion that you go through. during a breakup. And, kind of going off the stages of grief idea, like how that can be translated back into a song. And because the emotions that you feel, be negative or positive after a breakup, is so powerful that, that's why some of the best music in the world is written about, breakups and heartbreak and all that sort of stuff. So it just felt right for this project.
Well, if you're making a project about all of these different types of emotions, have you thought about potentially writing a song from the friend's perspective that you've told, I'm breaking up with this girl, I don't love her anymore, and then they tell you their full thoughts about the girl and how much they hate her, then you get back together and then they look like the idiot. Have you thought about writing from that perspective?
Well, yeah, because this song, You're Not Mine, is from the exact opposite side, right? It's like, I've broken up with this girl. I've told all my friends that we're not together anymore. They've wasted hundreds of drinks on me. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, we might try it again. And obviously it doesn't work out. But yeah, I actually hadn't thought of writing from the friend's perspective. And I think it would be a fairly aggressive song if it's anything like the experiences that I've experienced with my friends. But
I would have to say it would be one of the first, potentially. I've never heard it written from that side. And when I heard this song, I was just like, you think about your friends and you go, mate, I really, screwed them around, and they told me how I feel. And then they wonder why you don't want them around when your girlfriend's around. Like, well, I know how you actually feel about her. So
yeah, well, I mean, you might have to be a co-writer on the next single if that's what it's about.
Bring me in. Sony Writing Camp 2022. Dustin Skipworth will be in there.
That's it. I'll see you there.
So what's the rest of the year look like for you? Is it just smooth sailing with this track through this rest of the year?
Yeah, I think that the plan is to just run with this song for as long as possible, knowing that we've got more music to come and more music ready to go. And I think leading the new year with some really good music is our best bet at the moment. And, this song only just came out a couple of weeks ago, so we're still just seeing it getting picked up by amazing playlists and radio and all that sort of amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be in my studio trying to make TikToks about the song and make it go viral until the next one comes out.
You got any ideas behind what you're going to do for TikToks? I personally don't usually make TikToks, but I do love to filter through and have a look at what everyone's doing on there.
Yeah, I mean, I was speaking to some people from my social media team the other day, and we were thinking of running with the key lyric of "You're Not Mine," and one of them said, "Oh, you could do like a play on when you were a kid and like you got lost in the supermarket and you quickly ran up to like an adult thinking that your parents, and
yes.
they turn around and it's not your parent, and you're like, oh, you're not mine." That was
that's actually happened to me. Not even when I was a kid. It happened to me 2 weeks ago. I walked up to a table of people and I thought it was our friends that we were going to see at lunch. And I walked up and I was like, "Oh, how you guys going?" And they all turned around and it wasn't the family that I thought. And I was just like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really like, we're here for a birthday party. And they were super cool about it. But I was like, mate, I haven't done that since I was probably a kid, I reckon.
Well, now you got a song about it. So get TikToking, Dustin.
I'll TikTok. I'll put the song to it. That's the plan, I guess, moving forward for it. Are you in the world of, and I think you did it for Throw Away My Number, getting remixes done? Like, I know that's obviously a world that you live in, DJing and producing. Is that something that's in the plan of what you are going to kind of do?
Yeah, for sure. At the moment, there's no remixes on the way for this song in particular, but I think there is definitely a plan when some more of the music is out to get some stuff remixed, to get some club stuff going. I think the more that the music can cater to a wider audience, the better. And there are so many amazing, great dance artists in Australia that I'd love to collaborate with on that side of things. So yeah, for sure. I think we'll definitely get some remixes done for some of the upcoming music. And I'm looking forward to hearing what people can do.
Yeah. Well, Jordie, mate, when you're performing at Vegas, at Omnia, or one of the big clubs out there, I'll be front and center in 2022. I want to see it happen. I appreciate your time always and love your music. And you always got a home right here on the DSP whenever you need it, bro.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. And good to chat to you again.